Hi everybody, it's me, Cassie, and today I'm going to talk to you about This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. Now, I have one thing to say about this book, and it's just amazing. It's been on my TBR shelf for a really long time, and the reason why I requested it from the library is because I saw a bunch of things online saying how good it was, so I was like, oh, I might as well try it. So for a while I've been really excited to read it, and when I finally got to it, it just had me hooked from the beginning. And then as I was reading through it, I just could not stop. I read it in probably with school. I read it pretty fast with school because school has lots of homework. Very fun. But yeah, it is a really good book, and if you haven't read it, I really suggest that you do. And if you have read it and you really enjoyed it, then you are very welcome to keep on watching this video. I mean, if you want to hear what it's about, then you can stay, but don't stay for the spoilers if you've read about it, if you haven't read it. So yeah. Now, let's get on to what's the book about. Yeah. So, anyway, the main characters are two teenagers named August, and Kate. And in the town they live in, it's separated into like two halves. In one side, he's considered like the do-gooder, I guess, and it's considered the do-gooder side because it's run by a person with good morals called Henry Flynn. And then on the other side, they mostly just refer to it as V City, and that half of the city is run by this guy named Callum Harker. And I'm pretty sure that that's not how you pronounce his name. I'm pretty sure you pronounce it Callum, but I'm like, he's supposed to be a really menacing guy because he's supposed to have like all these he controls all these monsters in the city. And he's supposed to be really menacing. And I'm like, Callum doesn't sound menacing to me, because I personally like the name Callum because I've had a good personal experience with the person named Callum. But I'm just like, Callum Harker doesn't sound menacing. But I'm like, Callum Harker, that sounds menacing, doesn't it? Callum Harker. All fear Callum Harker. All fear Callum Harker. Callum just sounds better for his character profile. And so, in the city they live in, it's slightly overrun by monsters, and these monsters are called the Corsai, the Malachi, and the Sunai. The Sunai, they're considered monsters because when they sing a song or play a song on an instrument, they can devour a person's soul through that music. Very fun. And then I think the Malachi, they're kinda like vampires, I guess. And then the Corsai are just monsters. They're like misshapen, and they live in the shadows. We live in the shadows. We live where darkness hides. Oh my gosh, that song is very true for these monsters. But that song was This Is the Hunt, the theme song for Shadowhunters, which has renewed which season 2 is coming out in January. Yay! I love Cassandra Clare. But anyway, back to the savage song. Yeah, they're really monsters. They live in the shadows and they eat people. They have no moral sense. I mean, granted, monsters don't typically have moral sense, but sometimes they do. And yeah, I think the Corsa, I think they can be controlled, kinda, if you get them to bend to your will. I think that's how it's work. But yeah. And so, Kate, she is the daughter of Callum Harker, and she wants to be like her father. She wants to be controlling. She wants to prove herself to her father that she can be like him, and that's why she is going through a little delinquent phase. Her father keeps on sending her away, but she wants to be close to him so she can prove herself, and finally she gets that, and she has to prove herself. She thinks she has to prove herself. So that's very fun. And then August, he is the son of Henry Flynn. And the reason why I say son is because August is a monster. He is a Sunai, and the Sunai, we find out, they look the most human-like, and we find out that when they sing a song, they can only eat, they can't eat innocent souls, they can only eat sinner souls, so they're kind of like righteous. And Henry Flynn just has them under his wing because there's this huge war that separated the city in half. August wasn't part of that war, but the two other Sunai under Henry Flynn's wing were, and they played a big part in the war. And yeah, and plus they don't like Harker because he is a sinner, and they're just like, we don't like you because of what you are, and they're just like, and I also think it's kind of like just having that food in front of, it's kind of like having the food in front of you, but you can't have it. I also think it's kind of, that's why the Sunai didn't side up with Harker. But yeah. Anyway, once Kate is in the city, Henry Flynn has August go undercover to the same school as Kate to get close to her in case war ensues again, because in these books there's always war. They're always on the brink of war. But yeah, he goes undercover and he gets close to Kate, and they don't really form a romantic relationship, which I thought was actually pretty nice. But they just have a mutual friendship, and they just get close to each other, and then as they're getting close to each other, they're kind of like they kind of think of what happened in the past, and they're kind of figuring out like what's happening, kind of. And then one day something just goes very bad, and everything starts turning downhill from there. And yeah, it's very interesting. I really liked how it was set up. And so, now, for the lovely people who haven't read The Savage Song, I would suggest you please leave now, 'cause it's spoiler time! What? Spoiler time? So, if you're still here, that means you've read it. Good. Because as I said, amazing book! Oh, I'm so excited. I am so excited for the second book. It was, I didn't really know there was a second book until like halfway through, and then as I was reading it, I saw that it was set up for a sequel, and I was really excited because I'm just like, I mean, it kind of could have been left where it was slightly, but not really. But I'm so excited for the new book. I don't know why I didn't put this in the non-spoiler section, because this isn't really spoilers. But I have seen the cover and the synopsis, and the cover just looks so beautiful, and then the synopsis, it just makes me want it so bad, and I'm like, mine must have now, not 2017. Give me now. That's the sad thing about books, that new books, and you don't have the whole series to read, so it's really sad. Ooh. But anyway, on my little note sheet, I have, the first thing I wrote down was, like, at the beginning, what do the marks on arms have to do? And I'm like, oh. And then as we get to know that it's when they go dark, I'm just like, that's really interesting. It never really said what Leo had for his marks, but I thought it was, like, kind of interesting how the marks, how, like, each Tsunai had different marks. Like, Elsa's, she had stars, and it, like, she is kind of seen as, like, fragile and beautiful like a star, and kind of crazy as in, like, seeing stars. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. And it never really went into Leo's marks, because he can't stay good enough to not go dark enough to really have details. But August was just tally marks. It kind of, like, shows how practical he is. Like, it said that he never really liked reading fiction, which I have to disagree on there. With you, August. Fiction is very lovely, but you saw me looking over there. Imaginary August right there I'm talking to. Very fun. Don't you guys talk to characters? It kind of showed how practical he was. Like, he only read nonfiction, and he was always, like, worried about, like, he was just very practical. And then the fact that he liked classical music the best, it really showed how practical he was. And I think the tally marks just were a representation of their personalities for the Tsunai. I thought that was really interesting. And I just thought of that now. I feel so smart. And so when I read this book, I said I was instantly hooked, and, like, halfway through the book when things started, like, going downhill, this book has you really on edge. If you didn't, at least I felt really on edge. I was just like, ooh, what's gonna happen? Is somebody gonna die? Is something really bad gonna happen? Well, I don't know how I really felt, but it was just like, it kind of felt like on edge. And as I was just reading it, I'm just like, I gotta get to the end of this. I gotta see how it ends. This is such a good book. But yeah, I felt like it, I guess it, I'm not really sure how I felt, but it resembled being on edge. Very fun. And so, one thing that really made me sad is, like, when after August went dark in the book, and how he just, like, felt that he can't reach the emotions he had. Oh my gosh, that just made me want to cry. I'm like, August, he is my favorite character. And it was just like, I loved how much he cared, and I just loved him as a whole. He's kind of like he's one of those characters you just, like, want to wrap up, and he's a little baby. That's how I kind of felt about him. Like, I knew, like, he is strong, but I'm just like, there's still that little side of him that I just wanted to wrap up, because he's a little baby. And I don't mean that as in, like, a rude way, but I'm pretty sure you guys know what I mean. And so, like, when it said that he couldn't really feel the emotions he had in the past before, I was so sad. I'm just like, no. I was just like, why? Why do you people do this to me? Why do you ruin my babies? First Maven and now this. I'm just like, oh. Yeah, but I was very on the verge of tears when I read that. I was just like, no. Why, August? Why? I mean, well, he was fighting so hard to fight the darkness, but then eventually he kind of gave up. And I was like, no, August, why? And one thing that I just thought of is that when they did when August was dark, it was completely in Kate's view. So now I'm kind of wondering, what would we have read if it was August's point of view when he turned dark? Maybe it's just like when he turned dark, he has too dark thoughts to be in a young adult novel, maybe. But now I'm really curious to see what would we have read if we read it in August's point of view. Yeah. I really didn't like Leo. Like, near the end when he was just like, oh, I set up this deal to bring war, and I'm just like, what? I'm just like, I was not expecting that. I'm like, Leo, you're a jerk. I mean, we know you all lost your humanity a long time ago, but I'm just like, still. I'm just like, why? But, like, he still cared about his brother, though. He came in and said, killing my brother was not part of the deal, and he saved August somewhat. But then he encouraged August to go dark, and I'm like, I don't really like you. And I thought it was kind of cool to see, like, I feel like when August went dark and he was killing Leo, I felt like he was just, like, kind of fighting. I just imagine, like, a little tug-of-war happening in his mind when he killed Leo. Or maybe, Leo, well, it says that they can't really tell the difference, but he was going for Kate, but then he went, I think, like, he made a self-conscious decision, because he still wanted Kate to be alive, because he liked Kate and he cared for her as a friend and didn't want her to die, because nobody wants their friends to die. So maybe those feelings for Kate, not emotionally, not like romantic thoughts, but just friendship thoughts of not wanting to die, overpowered the darkness. And just like, love conquers all. I mean, it was a friendship love. You guys know what I'm talking about. And I thought it was, I'm just like thinking of all these things, and I'm just like, so many possibilities. Like, did he, yeah, I think, yeah. Yes, I'm just going, yeah. Very smart here. But yeah, I just keep on thinking of these things, and I'm just like, when you actually think about this book, it leaves you to think a lot about it. So yeah. And now, let's talk about the ending. Sloane? Yeah, the very good dramatic thing. Sloane is not dead. He is awake. I thought for sure Leo had killed him, but it was like, no. Let me find the page. the Malachi didn't move. Oh, wait. She cocked her head, considering, then took hold of the blood-slicked pole and drew it free with a wet scrape. The Malachi didn't move. Nothing, nothing. And then a sudden rattling sound escaped the monster's chest, and his red eyes flicked open. He sat up and spit a mouthful of black blood onto the concrete before tipping his head back and looking up at her. "What is your name, little Malachi?" She thought for a long second, waiting for a name to surface, and when it did, welling up like blood, she answered, "Alice." The Malachi's lips curled into a wicked smile, and he began to laugh, the sound ringing through the warehouse like a song. Sloane is not dead. Woo! And like when I read the synopsis for the second book, it says like a couple years. I think it said a couple years had passed. So it was like, Sloane, are you like just gathering your forces or something? But I'm just like, he's not dead. Is he like invincible or something? Or did Leo just not kill the Malachi correctly? But I'm just like, Sloane is not dead. Not good at all. But hey, Kate's gone for now, but August still is around, so he's probably gonna go for August, and it's gonna be lots of problems. And I'm like, so I'm just like, why does 2017 have to be so far away? And then the new Malachi that made Sloane, revive Sloane, she chose the name Alice, and that's Kate's mother. And I thought that was really interesting, because it's just like she didn't really, Kate's mother didn't really do anything. She was just, poor Kate's mother, she was just an innocent. She didn't deserve it, and like, I have a feeling that Callum was like, she ran away to get away from him, not because she didn't love him, but because she was afraid of who he became. I mean, like, who wouldn't be afraid of your husband after what he did, / what he's doing? I mean, like, she had good sense to run away, and so I'm like, yeah. And then when it says, the sound ringing through the warehouse like a song, I'm just like, ooh. I'm just like, I know he's a Malachi, but I'm just like, Sunai. Interesting. I thought it was that was just a really good way to end the book. I really liked how she ended it. This is my first time reading Victoria Schwab, and I like her writing style. Like, sometimes, I just read a book and, like, it's a good storyline, but the writing style isn't really that good. But I really liked her writing style. And then I'm just like, and I also, like, really like the title, This Savage Song. It's just, like, it goes really good with, I'm just like, I just love the title. It's just really beautiful to go along with this book. And then the sequel, it's called Our Dark Duet, and I'm just like, so exciting! I'm just like, ooh, is romantic relationships gonna bloom or something? Or is it just called that because they have to reunite and, they have to fight together and stuff? So I'm like, So, yes, I thought this was an amazing book. I am so sad that I don't have the second book to read right now, but hey, for now, I'm reading Magnus Chase. And I at the last page before the first thing I did when I got it was read the last page, and I'm like, Uncle Rick, you didn't. And I'm like, I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna be buying the third book. Very much so. keeping it very vague. Spoiler free for that book because it's not time for spoilers because this is this savage song. But yeah, tell me what you guys thought of this video. Any thoughts about this book? And if you guys want to discuss I can't choose my words today. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me if you want me to talk about anything. And tell me if you guys are excited for the second book. Because as you all know, I am. Just dancing a random dance. Because I'm cool like that. Very cool. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.